Hi guys, welcome back to my class. My name is Choma of Choma Stitches. So today we are going to be doing a princess dart bustier, and we're going to learn how to draft the princess dart bustier. If you have not subscribed already to my channel, this is your chance to subscribe so that you get notified every time I drop a new sewing tutorial, and so you can also follow up on this community. And please don't forget to like and share and comment if this video happens to be of any help to you at the end of the day. This class is going to have parts where on this particular episode we are going to be drafting the bustier, and then for the next episode we are going to be actually transferring into fabric and sewing with the pattern we have drafted. So if you are watching this video, do well to also check out the sewing process. So stay to the end of the video to learn how we draft our princess dart bustier, and also watch the next video on how we actually sew it. Take your accurate measurement when you want to draft your bustier. I'm going to be using two marker pens. One is going to be for the drafting of the basic bodies, and the other will be for altering the basic bodies into our princess dart bustier. The measurement we are working with for the half length we are working with is 17 inches, but I'm going to be marking 17.5 inches so that the half an inch will be the half an inch is going to be for joining the upper bodies to the lower bodies when we start joining it. Okay, to divide our block bodies, I'm going to be dividing this pattern by 4, like the bust measurement divided by 4, and I can add few inches just to keep it the way we want. So 39 inches divided by 4, that's the bust we're working with, is about 9.75. So I'm going to be marking 11.5. So I'm going to be using 11.5 to divide our pattern. And so this is a block. So this is half of the front and this is half of the back. And so the difference between the front half length and the back half length is 2 inches. I'm going to be taking out 2 inches from the back half length. So this is also when you're taking measurements for your body, take the measurement of your front half length and take the same measurement again for the back half length, because there are usually a difference. Okay, because the front has the bust, it tends to be longer than that of the back bodies. But in some people's cases, it might be equal, it might be the same, or difference might be half inch or 1 inch. But for this person, the difference is 2 inches. So I'm going to be marking out 2 inches at the back. I have a terrible handwriting. That's 2 inches. Anyway, so now we're going to start imputing the measurement. We're going to start with the shoulder measurement, and the shoulder we're working with is about 7.5 inches. So I'm going to be marking 7.5 inches for the shoulder. And for the back, we're going to be including 1 inch for zip allowance for the back. So instead of 7.5, I will be marking 8.5. By the way, let me go ahead and mark out the 1 inch for the back zip allowance to avoid any kind of mistake. Okay, so to get the depth of for our armhole, first I am going to be dividing. I'm going to be coming down from the back half length by 1 inch. And then to get the depth of the armhole, I'm going to be dividing the bust by 6 inches. 39 divided by 6 inches will be 6.5. And then I'll add 1 inch to it. And so we have 8 inches. So I'm going to come down and mark 8 inches. In other words, this 8, and then for the front, I'm going to come down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slanting. And so transferring this 8 inches here, we don't have to make this one longer than this one. So we just measured from the top of this one, the back piece, and we have 9 inches. So I'm just going to come here and mark 9 inches. So I will connect these two lines as the armhole sitting. So from here, I'm going to replace, I will now come here and mark down the same shoulder measurement 7.5, and here I am marking it the same measurement here. And now I can connect the lines. Okay, and then to get the curve of the armhole for the back piece, we'll go up and divide the armhole depth by 2, and I have 8 inches here, which is 4. So I'm going to mark 4, and I'm going to go in by half an inch, and from the half an inch I'll use my straight ruler to connect it to the shoulder slanting, and then I'll use my curved ruler to curve it. This is my armhole curve, and I use it to curve in here. Okay, and then for For the front, I'm going to go up by 3.5 inches and I'll mark it. I will also come in here by half an inch. You can also go in as much as 0.75 inches, depending on how tight you want the neckline that side to be, because it will affect the tightening of the shoulder around the sleeve. So I'm going to connect this with a straight ruler to the armhole, to the shoulder slanting, and then use my ruler to curve it. To get your basic neckline, you divide your bust measurement by 12, and whatever you get, that is your basic neckline. Although this can be altered depending on the design or style you are trying to create. So I'm just going to use the basic neckline, then we can start altering it when we start altering the pattern. Okay, so for this neckline, 39 inches divided by 12, I have 3.25. I'm just going to go ahead and mark it 3.25 on both the front and the back. And then for the back depth, I am going to come down by half an inch. And I'll connect it. Then I'll use my straight ruler to slant it to the shoulder slanting. And then for the front depth, I'm going to come down by the same 3.25. And then I'll use my curved ruler to curve it as well. And then I'll use the straight ruler to slant the shoulder slanting. Okay, now I am going to be imputing my horizontal measurement from the shoulder to the top of the bust, 7 inches. So from here you have the top of the bust, that's the line exactly on before the cleavage, that's on top of the cleavage. This is the bust, and then this is the under bust. Okay, next we're going to start is our dart. And to get your dart, you have to know what your bust span is, and the bust span is a nipple to the nipple measurement. And for this person we have 8 inches, and so I'm going to mark in the nipple to the nipple measurement to be 4 inches. So I'm going to mark 4 inches for the back, and the same thing for the front, and I'm going to rule a straight line to connect it. So starting from here, I'm going to mark 4 inches. I'll mark it on the in here too. Okay, so now we have it, and so for this bust span for the front, for the back, to take out the dart, I'm going to be taking out 1.5 inches dart at the under bust for the front. I'm going to take out 1.5 inches dart for the back piece, and so I'm going to mark 0.75 inch on both sides, and then I'll connect it to the top. So I have 0.75 inches. And then from the bust, I'm going to go up by 1 inch. And then I will connect the dart lines. And so this is the dart, and I'm connecting it to the waistline. This is the small line under is the waistline. The reason why it's shorter is because we have taken out 2 inches as a difference between the front and the back. So this is supposed to be the waistline. If the half length was longer, then the waistline would have been more visible. Okay. All right. So next, we're going to be introducing the side measurements for the back piece. So for the underbust, we have the underbust to be 35 inches. 35 divided by 4 is 8.7. It's 8.75. About 8.75 here. And then if I add the 1.5 inch that allowance, I'm going to have come here. So we have a total of 10.25. Okay, and then for the bust is 39 inches divided by 4 is 9.75. So I'm going to mark 9.75. And also, as you are looking at it, you will notice that I'm taking out my measurements from the line before the dart, before the zip allowance. Okay, so this from here, I am going to connect this to the top, and then I'm going to roll down here. So this is the back pattern. And then what I like to also do for zip tightening, so that the zip will not bulge at the back. So you take out, so that the zip will not bulge at the back, I take out half an inch from the zip allowance, half an inch, and then I can come up the way to this bust area or to the top of the bust, and I'm going to be slanting it there. Okay, so I'm going to come up like so and slant it directly to the top of the bust. Now also note that even though I am taking out this part, even though I'm going to take out that part when I am cutting the pattern, I will still sew the zip with complete 1-inch sewing allowance. But the reason we took out this part is for the arc at the back, so that the zip will be straight. It will not have bulginess or fold at the back. Okay, now let's face the front pattern. I'm just going to connect this zip. Now for the front, I'd like to change my pen here so that I can alter this front pattern. So for the front pattern, for the waistline, we're going to take out the same 1.5 inch that we have taken at the back. So I'm going to mark 0.75 on both sides here. And then for under the bust here, this is the side front SF, and this is the center front CF. Okay, so from the side front, I am going to go out by 1.5, 1.2 inches. I'm going to mark out 1.2 inches here. While from this side, I'm going to maintain the same 0.75 I've marked there. I'm going to maintain it here. And then from the bust, I'm going to come down by 1 inch here. From here, from the bust here, I'll go up here too by another 1 inch. You understand why we're doing these markings, this marking for the up. But for this down part, from this 1 inch, I'm going to place my curved ruler. You can use the curved part in the middle, and I'm going to connect these lines. And I'll do the same thing on the side front. And then I am going to use the straight ruler to connect it to the waistline. So try not to make it pointy, so I'm just making sure the lines are not pointed. Okay, all right. And so now for our princess dart, I am going to divide the armhole into two. So I'm going to come here and come down, mark it in half. This is the middle of the armhole. This is the middle of the armhole, and from here I am going to use my curved ruler to connect it to this 1 inch we have marked up. So I'm going to be connecting these lines. Okay, okay, and then from the top, from on this side, I am going to go up by half an inch from the side here, half an inch here. I'm going to come down as well by half an inch. I'm also going to use my ruler to connect these lines to the same 1 inch. Okay, now this 1 inch that I've taken out from here, this 1 inch I'm taking out from here, I'm going to come here and return it. Okay, we're going to come out here and mark the 1 inch again. This is very important. Okay, so I'm going to be using my curved ruler to mark this, to return this, or return this back to the to the armhole. So this is the new armhole. Oh my, this okay, so from here, from this place, now this is our armhole line. So from here I'm going to come up by 1 inch. This is my 1 inch here, and so this is where my new armhole is going to be. So I'm going to be connecting this from here to the new armhole. Okay, this is a mistake, please ignore that part. All right, so now I am going to go ahead and introduce the other measurements into the cutting. Okay, and for this other measurements, we're going to have our bust measurement, which is our bust 39 divided by 4, which will be 9.75 inch. I'm going to mark out my 9.75 inch here. And as well, I'm going to rule it to the top. Okay, and then and so the underbust is 35 inches. 35 inches divided by 4 will be 8.75. 8.75 plus this 2 inches we have under the bust, and we have 10.75. So I'm going to mark the 10.75 here. And then for the waistline, the waist we have 32 inches divided by 4, which is 8, plus 1.5 inches for this dart here, and we have 9.5. So I'm going to mark our 9.5 for the waistline. Now I'm going to be using my marker to connect these lines. So I have this here, and then I'll connect this place to this. Now next thing I'm going to do is the 2 inches difference. These 2 inches we've taken out from the back piece. We're going to also take it out on the front as a dart on the side of the front, so that when we join this pattern together, they will align. So I'm taking out these 2 inches. So from here, I'm going to mark the 2 inches for the dart, and then I'm going to come over here and rule it. Now, for someone who is busty, I'm trying to show something now. For someone who is not busty, okay, let's start with that. For someone who is not busty, but they are just big and their bust happen to be 39 inches, what you have to do is from these 2 inches, you will rule a straight line to meet the bust point here. This is for someone who is not busty, and then you can fold in the dart, okay? But for someone who is actually busty, they are not just fat and having a big bust. The bust is actually there. So for that kind of person, you're going to go out from the bust point. You're going to go out by 1 inch or 0.75 inches, okay? And then from there, you will connect the line to the bust dart. Now this is where we're going to be taking our bust dart from, because this is what our client has. So this place is going to be taken out. Now I'm going to try and take out this under bust, and to do that I am going to be first of all cutting out this particular one, this dart, and then I'm going to get to the bust point and I will cut it open to the 1 inch mark that I have cut in. Also, to make sure this okay, now from here, from this 1 inch mark I've made, I am going to be folding this dart line. Okay, so this is the dart line. So I folded the one I marked with red, which is the one where I had gone out here by 1 inch first to create an opening. Now this opening we have created here is like adding more fullness to the bust area. And to fill it up, I'm just going to cut out a piece of paper from here and just place it underneath. So just place it underneath. This is how you fill up the allowance, what you have the space you have created there. I'm just going to use a piece of my tape to hold it down so that it becomes a part of the pattern. It doesn't go out. Okay. Now I'm going to be using my marker to trace that place to meet back the bust point. So this is it. And then this side, I am going to use my marker, my pen, my tape rule to hold it together. And then now if you look at this place now, because of this dart we have taken out on the bust area, because of the dart we've taken out at the bust area, you can see that the side line has moved. So we're going to try and meet it up by taking this by using our ruler to rule it here to get back our marking. Okay, so these places we're going to cut out these places, please. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut out this pattern first, and then we can do further explanation. So if you match this pattern now, you can see that at this point they match because we have arranged it. Okay, and so this is our princess bustier pattern. If you want to see how we use this pattern to make a dress, watch the next video on how we are going to be using this same pattern we have drafted to create a beautiful gown, a beautiful Ankara gown.